Hello, and welcome to another day of TA the Degen way. And here we are again looking at the Bitcoin price, and you can see that we've gotten part of our anticipated drop as price rounded over and got flat. We had some divergence on the 4-hour chart that did play out, caused us to break trend, break below the 200 EMA, and now we're kind of coming up and retesting that. You can see that our wave trend oscillator is down pretty deep again in the 4-hour, so we would expect this to pinch off and print a green dot and roll over to the upside. I don't think it's going to be a very big rollover if we kind of follow the curvature of our momentum here. You can see as this builds its way up, that is a very poor line. It's coming up, and we would expect it to be, and I messed her up again, but somewhere right in this area we would expect this momentum to kind of pewter out. So here is the here's the top, and you can see it's kind of building itself out to the downside. And I would imagine as this here pinches off to the green, we'll probably see some kind of a move to the upside. That'll probably pewter out. We'll probably retest the bottom of this upper price range here, giving us some kind of a head and shoulders pattern. I'm not much of a pattern trader. Honestly, a lot of that stuff is probably created by exchanges to get you to spend your money, because you can look at these patterns and you find out that oftentimes they do play out to a certain degree, because it's giving you some kind of an indication as to what's going on with the price action. I mean, excuse me, what's going on with the price action in a head and shoulders? Well, price came up, there was sell pressure, and buyers were still kind of strong, pushed it up into the same sell pressure. Buyers weakened, price pushes down, and the sellers are still strong, so as price pushes up with not enough buyers, and then down she comes. And as far as targets and stuff, I mean, sometimes that plays out, sometimes it doesn't play out. So our first target here was the golden pocket at my personal target. And if we do get the head and shoulders, well then we're looking at kind of coming down here. And you can see that this entire move since our big spike to the upside, volume has been decreasing. So one way to view this, if we are going to hold these prices and not continue to the downside, is to think of this as just a sideways range. And even if we consider this just a sideways range, we'll kind of delete a few things. We can pull up our fixed volume profile tool, and what we want to measure is this lower price action. Look at the volume in this range, and lo and behold, the point of control, or highest volume node, happens to be dead smack in the middle of our golden pocket. So price didn't make it all the way back up to the top of the value area. You can see here, top of the value area, we never made it quite to the bottom, and we never made it quite to the top. So now as we are coming back down, what we would want to see, if we want to remain super bullish, which may be appropriate in the near future, excuse me, we'd be looking for price to bounce off of this POC, this high volume node, or worst case scenario, come down to the value area low, or even our head and shoulders target, which is kind of lining up with some of these lows, and then bounce and hold. But thus far, I don't see much different. If we come down to some of the smaller time frames, the reason I think that we probably will see a little bit of a bounce here, maybe some kind of a right shoulder in the price action. You can see the hourly. This has rolled over to the downside, and then now we're going to roll over to the upside, so we should expect in the coming hours to get some kind of a push to the upside. If we excuse me, if we blow this up just a little bit, take a look at her, we can always pull a fib on our current swing. Here's our local swing, our swing high, our swing low. So we'd be looking for this swing to retrace. And what do you have at the 50% mark? Well, why do these patterns work out? Well, because as price moves in ranges, it 50% of a range, 100% of a range, 25% of a range, so we would expect it to retrace 50% of this price range. And then if there's not enough fuel in the tank, then we'll reject and push on down. So over the next coming hours, I do expect a little blip to the upside. If we take our current price at 26,625, we're looking at about a 1%, 1.25% pump per se, and then I do expect price to continue to the downside. And if we take our current little trend and our current price action, when would we expect that to be over? Well, looks like right about here. I'm on US Central Time, so we would be looking at about 7 a.m. on Friday, if I'm reading that correctly. So, and then we would expect price to continue down to this POC somewhere right in the area of 26.32, and I have my first take profit right at this 50% mark at, right around 26,100. And what happens there, we'll just have to wait and see. Can we crack this trend, this downtrend that's forming? If price does make it down here, predicting price is not really a possible reality, but you can forecast some of the probabilities. So if price does come up, comes on down, and it bounces here, well, now we have support line here that has been broken that you would expect to be flipped into resistance. So is price going to just come back up to this resistance line and continue to the downside, retest the bottom side of this POC and just continue on down? Or is it going to break through this resistance line, reclaim this upper range, retest the breakup trend, and retrace this swing? So if price comes down here, we hit this POC, and if we were to look for a 50% retrace at the swing, at that point we'd be looking for price to come back up and retest at 50%. We'd be at about 26,750. And if we get this little push up and push down, and we do that, we would still have lower highs and lower lows. Catch a lot of flack on the internet for being bearish. I sure love being bullish. And there's a lot of love out there when you're bullish. Everybody wants the price to go up, and probably nobody more so than I do. But we do have to get there first, and when it happens, the chart will reflect it. That's all I got for today, but I do see a little cool off in the current downtrend, a little push 1%, 1.25% push to the upside, and then I expect to continue on down to about 26K. But I hope it was a help and blessing for you. If you enjoy the content or the TA, I encourage you to like, subscribe, join our Discord where every night at 8 p.m. You're welcome to come in. We just have a live AMA where you can share your screen, your microphone's on. You can ask any question you want. We can look at whatever assets you want and figure out together where we think these markets may end up. And if you have any questions about TA or just how I do my TA, I'd be more than happy to answer them. But with that said, trade well.